I think it's incumbent upon each of us, and I'll give you two or three or four examples of how I've tried to do that, to work across party lines on every issue possible. When it came to the debt ceiling, raising the debt ceiling, or the transportation bill, what was always bipartisan was made partisan by the Tea Party members in the House of Representatives. We wanted to pass a long-term transportation bill. We didn't want to risk the credit of the United States of America, something that politicians in both parties have agreed that we move forward together on in the past. The Tea Party influence in the House of Representatives stopped us from doing that. But back to to looking ahead, when I had my provisions in the Farm Bill that will save $20 billion in farm subsidies, I found a Republican from South Dakota to work with, and we got it through together. When the tragedy of the Bluffton baseball team, when their bus went off the road in Atlanta on the way to spring training that day 5 years ago, I found a Republican from Texas, Kay Bailey Hutchinson, who had suffered in her state, whose state had also suffered a terrible bus tragedy. And we worked on that and got that legislation through and signed by the president. On my currency bill, the largest bipartisan jobs bill to pass the Senate, I found a Republican in South Carolina, and a Republican in Alabama to work with me, and Senator Snow, a Republican from Massachusetts, or from Maine on other issues. So I'm always, just recently, legislation to require banks, the large Wall Street banks, to have higher capital standards, to have higher capital cushions to protect us against too big to fail, too big to manage, too big to regulate. And Senator Vitter from Louisiana, who's about as conservative as any member of the Senate, he and I sent a letter together to the regulators urging them to enforce stronger and deeper and better capital requirements on the nation's largest banks. So I'm always looking for people to cooperate with. I will continue to do that. I'm hopeful more of my colleagues do too.